a contractor. And I thought, oh, this doesn't sound very good. I said, have you got enough money to pay us all? Oh, no, we've got lots of money. We've got lots of money. But she said, we just don't, we can't keep up. And that's always a clue for a bottleneck. And I didn't know it then, but we can't keep up, which means that the demands are higher than your capacity to meet them. We can't keep up. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. So you're not paying them. Yeah. We just don't have enough people to process all of the invoices that they're sending through, and we're not paying them. Oh, okay. All right. And then I had by this stage read the Goal, the original novel, and I was in love with the ideas, but I'd never actually been brave enough to confront a bottleneck in the real world. But it sure sounded like there was a bottleneck. So I said to her, do you guys have a bottleneck, maybe? She goes, oh, I've got so many bottlenecks. Everywhere's a bottleneck these days. I go, oh, okay, right. And then I just said, well, look, tell me, what's the process you use? And maybe I can, might be able to help you think about it. She goes, oh, you won't be able to help. We've been trying to fix this for months and months ago. Okay. I said, oh, well, it's still going to take at least 10 minutes to run this thing. Why don't you just tell me? You've got nothing to lose. She goes, oh, okay. She goes, well, we got 5 processes. And then she describes the process of when the office junior would go to the mail room and get the envelopes and then unpack them. And then someone would check them, I think, and type them in and and then they go through and then they push a button at the end of the day and checks will get printed out and sent off to people. So we go, okay, cool, right, 5 steps. Okay. I said, well, how many do you do a day? And she goes, what? How many checks do you print out a day? I don't know. So I'll make up numbers here. 60 a day. Okay, right. Okay, cool. Right. And how many do you get coming in? Maybe a few hundred, at this time of the month. Okay, right. Well, how many could you do in each step? And she runs through them. So remember the output here is 60. Listen for the number 60, and that will tell you where the bottleneck is. Right. So this one here, we get maybe 200 in. This one here, we could probably do 100 of those. All right. Yeah. This one here, we could do maybe 120. All right. This one here, I'd do that one there. I'd do about 60. All right there. And then we do this and we print the checks out. Okay, there's 60. Okay, right. Okay, good. And I write these numbers up on a whiteboard. And we get these ones. She goes, what's the lowest number? She goes, 60. She goes, oh my God, I'm the bottleneck. Because what she'd done is gone through and she spotted the narrowest part of the process, which was her, and that determined the output of the entire process. So she'd found that she was doing 60. The entire process was doing 60. Every other step could do more than that. So there's no point. You wouldn't hire another office junior to rush up and get the mail open sooner. You wouldn't hire other people. You just had to look at that step. And it turned out that she was that step. It was the approval step. And she was the most senior person there. So she approved all of the purchase orders. So now just think about, before I tell you what we did to fix this, just think about what was going on here. You have hundreds of suppliers all around the country not getting paid. They want to get paid, so they're ringing in and they're talking politely to start with and then angrily over time to the account staff and demanding their money, which is causing staff to leave and go and work somewhere else that's not so disorganized, which is causing Sheila / Sinead to spend a lot of her time recruiting for new staff and to talk to the angriest suppliers and promise that they'll get their money the next day. And she was doing all of that stuff rather than doing her approval step, which was the bottleneck. So she shut herself in an office in the afternoon and concentrated on doing her fundamental job, which was approving the payment of invoices. The capacity at that step went up from 60 to 200 a day. And they caught up with their backlog within a few days, and this problem, which had been around for months and months and months, and was causing her and the CFO director and a whole lot of other people huge anguish, disappeared. And it was gone. And that's all because they couldn't see the bottleneck, but one bit was having this big effect across a huge company. So if you think about it, the bottleneck department was the accounts team, but then you drill down and it was one person inside that, and it was really easily rectified. But here's the thing about bottlenecks is that they're bastards. And they hide, and they kind of like, they create rework and hassle, and they create quality problems, and they demand failure, and they keep everyone busy. And while they're busy doing that, they're creating clues and symptoms, and they're framing other people, and they're really, really sneaky little bastards, and they're busy hiding there, chuckling them to themselves because they're hidden in amongst all the chaos they're creating. And really, that's what this little book is about. It's just how to recognize that A, they exist, and then B, where are they? Well, they usually cause, I can't find them directly usually, but I can usually find them just by looking for the buildup of work. And especially, and this is something that I think I've added to the body of knowledge for this stuff, is that a lot of the time, when people are under pressure, they cut corners and create quality problems. So often a lot of demand failure is actually caused by an invisible, hiding, untamed bottleneck. And then and that can be a clue to help you find it. So that's that. I thought, have I got here? Yeah, I'll just show you this. So that's the idea of bottleneck, the narrowest point. And so I use this in IT and software development. And that's my domain. That book there's about software development, and it features it features a bit on the bottlenecks. But when I wrote it, this was just trying to get people to understand that there was an idea about it. And since then, I've realized that neither of my books or The Goal, or there's a couple of other books that one by Steve Tendon and the Phoenix Project book that mention theory constraints. I've realized that because of, I'll show you the reason, because of the way bottlenecks, there's a special feature about IT that means that if you just try and do it out of the box, you'll find a bottleneck quite quickly in any IT system. And the standard advice would be to find it, oh look, it's the testers, and then manage it using the process in my book or other books, or just common sense. But what you really want in software development teams, you don't want testing, say, to be your bottleneck. You don't want upstream of that your analysts to be the bottleneck. You want your developers to be the bottleneck. That's the strategic place to have a bottleneck. So different bottlenecks can be in any place, and managing them is good because it will get rid of a lot of rework and stuff. But you really want to be productive. You need to make sure that they're in the right place. And so bottlenecks are actually deliberate. So when they're managed and they're looked after, they become a deliberate thing. So if you look at this and compare this, you'll notice that they both have bottlenecks, but the size of the bottleneck is really, really quite different. This one here is, wide. This one's really, really skinny. And the reason for that is that this one here, you actually deliberately want to slow down the rate that the source is coming out. You actually want to control it. So the first step in any system is actually to put a deliberate bottleneck at the front of your process that deliberately slows down the amount of work going in. So in IT, we would talk about that as limiting, software development, agile, or in factories, we talk about that as deliberately limiting WIP. And we do that by putting a deliberate bottleneck in at the start of our processes. But in IT, in software development, not IT, this is a better way of looking at it. We deliberately want our bottleneck, if customers are here, analysts are here, testers are here, release processes are here, we want our bottleneck deliberately to be in the developer. We want the developers to be the bottleneck. And if they're not, there's a funny thing that happens is that they don't, you have to slow them down and have them stop working, because you can't, if you work faster than the bottleneck, you're working on stuff that can't be finished. So we deliberately need to put them there, because otherwise when developers have, well, they're the only role that, how do I put this? They're the only role that, how do I put this without offending developers all around the world, that can cause loads and loads of
increases the cost of my OPEX massively by creating lots of sprawl.
Well, yes, they keep themselves busy. They keep themselves busy. Developers just keep themselves busy, even if they've got nothing to work on, and then they create stuff that can't be finished, and it just creates so much work and process, and it becomes a mess. So if I give you an analogy that that might be easier, there's a friend of mine was helping a small private surgery, so a consultant surgeon who did private operations, and he went in, and so he was charging for this, so it was an easy conversation for him to have. And he's going through, well, how's your process work? Okay, we do this, and with this stuff, it doesn't matter that you don't know how to do surgery. You just need to know how to find bottlenecks and help people think about them. And just running through, he said, oh, okay, yeah, so cool, right, so that's your process, that's pretty good. And it works pretty good. Yeah, we're making quite good money. I'd quite like to make a bit more money though. Okay, right. So what's stopping you doing more? And he goes, oh, well, I'm the one that earns the money because I do all of the stuff. But sometimes I'm not able to do an operation. Say, I can't start it because perhaps I don't have a nurse available. Or the sterilizing cabinet over there. Sometimes if we don't synchronize things just right, I might be delayed by 20 minutes or so, perhaps, while I'm waiting for the equipment to be sterilized for the next operation. Okay, right. How much do you charge per patient? I don't know, I'll make up a number, $5,000. All right, okay, right. And how many of them do you do a day? Maybe 3, and we'd love to be able to do 4. Oh, okay, right, that's a lot of money. Well, it's expensive business being a doctor. Okay, right. How much does an extra nurse cost? Oh, about maybe $1,000 a week. Again, making up numbers here. Okay, right. And how much would it cost to buy another sterilizing kit to do that? Oh, probably about $5,000. Okay, so for a tiny amount of money, which would pay for itself within the week, you could stack up and have spare resources there, slightly too many nurses, too much sterilizing equipment capacity, but you would be able to treat more patients. I see you have your visitor there, Helen.
Yes, I know. I was glaring at her going, you're going to appear on screen.
Hey, that's cool. Hello.
Just saying hello to you. She can't hear you because I've got headsets on.
Oh, of course you can. No. So, yeah. So I think that's kind of straightforward, that you see that a surgeon, if they could go from doing 3 operations a day to 4 operations a day, and earn a lot more money, so it's a no-brainer money-wise. And just by spending a little bit of extra money to get some spare extra nursing capacity or sterilizing equipment, it's a no-brainer. It's kind of the same thing in IT. There's one resource that instead of cutting people, they cut code. And they're the ones that if your value is delivered by doing code, it doesn't mean they're more important than the analysts or the testers. It's not it's just in terms of things, you want to keep them busy. And if they're not the bottleneck, then they're either being delayed by another type of role that is, so they're not delivering value, or they're busy creating work that can't be done, which causes rework, which actually turns them into a bottleneck later on, and it causes them to become very busy but unproductive. So I just that's kind of like the last bit. The key point of that is that if in a software development organization, the developers are busy, it doesn't mean that the bottleneck, but because they might just be keeping themselves busy and they will be the bottleneck will be well hidden, but you want to set it up like you do with the doctor who cuts cuts people. You want to make sure that you stack capacity around them, so they're like this. So there's your developer, but as this gets wider here, that means that they have more capacity to make sure that they get good stuff come to them in time, and that on the other side of it, once they pass stuff down to people who are doing testing, the testers have enough capacity to test quickly and be reactive. And that is just such a powerful concept. And I kind of feel a little silly in some respects, because I've been telling people about that for years, but I've also just been telling them to go manage their bottleneck. And it was only this realization that it's actually hugely important that it's in the right place. So I'll wrap up in just a moment, but I make a distinction between a few different types of bottlenecks. One is an untamed bottleneck. So it's out there in the wild and it's causing all sorts of mess, which was like Sheila, the accountant's situation before we asked what's it look like, where's the bottleneck. When it's tamed, everything calms down. So that's the second type, is tamed. It's being managed, and you're usually putting a deliberate bottleneck just to slow down work coming into your system, and it just calms everything down and everything speeds up because A, the bottleneck's working well, but B, there's all sorts of failure demand that just disappears when bottlenecks are managed. You have right place bottlenecks, which is the one I just described there. When you choose to have a deliberate bottleneck and put it in a particular role, like for instance, this one, it wouldn't make much sense to put Tabasco sauce in that size thing. And then the last one is a right stuff bottleneck, which is when you've got the right stuff that's been fed in for the bottleneck. Now, I'll just give you a really simple real world example. Just imagine, here's a nice thing to imagine, or maybe remember, you went to a restaurant and you sat down and a right stuff bottleneck would be going, well, actually, no, the chefs are the bottleneck. And so we set up our restaurant to have capacity relative to how many chefs we have. But we also know that we have set up our menu so that it means that we've curated our menu so that we get as many meals as we can out of our chefs by making sure that they work on the right stuff. So you might have a dish that's easy to prepare before the rush and get them to work on that. And then you will curate the work that's going in by selling it as a daily special and asking the waiters and waitresses to push this one, this particular thing. What would you recommend? Oh, I'd recommend that. And they've already been prepped beforehand because it means that it requires less capacity of the bottleneck during the rush hour. Yeah, so there you go. I'm trying to think. I was going to draw you pictures, but I've shown you pictures of Tabasco sauce instead. So, any questions? Any thoughts?
No, it's good. It's just good to hear some real life examples, actually. Especially as simple as the one of the payroll. So after reading the Goal Phoenix Project, it's not luck. They're really interesting books.
They're really interesting. They do all of them deliberately obfuscated so that you go and hire the consulting services, which is fair enough. But it did make it feel that they made it a little bit mystical. So sorry, I overtalked you then too.
That's fine. I just one question actually. How did you get FaceTime with Eli?
Because you've seen the interview, the interview. So just for the rest of you, years ago, sure, it wasn't just before he died. It wasn't a deathbed thing. I must talk to Clarke. It was about a year before that, and he didn't do many interviews and stuff. And he had come out with a new book, And because I was doing podcasting, I've been obsessed with this stuff for a long time. And because I wasn't a competitor, he asked me if I would do a podcast interview with him to talk about his book. And if you're interested, go and have a look on my website, and it's up there. There's the audio version, and there's a transcript as well of it. And I listen to it every so often. People who have done the theory of constraint stuff go back and listen to it often, or read it, just because it's he chucked out a lot of little gems there that were otherwise hidden in his head. There's some really interesting stuff there. I'll tell you one. He made a point, and when you hear it, it sounds so obvious at the moment. He said that the way to innovate is to notice when things go wrong and you have an emergency, and then see how you react. And then when the emergency goes away, you capture the results, the changes you made. You then figure out how why you couldn't do those changes previously, what stopped you. You figure out any side effects of keeping doing them, but you don't let them go away. And he said that's how innovation in the real world happens more and more often. People, sorry, I just need to send my dog here. I just got a message. Daughter, oh my God, she's, they go back to school next week. She's just going, did you feed the dog? And I didn't feed the dog.
Oh no.
It was last week.
Since how long?
We like to keep her friendly, kind of like this out. And dogs are funny, aren't they? They're really friendly, but they're only so far you can go before they start looking at you as food, not the source of food.
They do like to eat. It's
While you're doing that, Clarke, I'm going to ask everybody else. I'm going to tell everyone my problem while you sort out the dog briefly, and then see if anyone else can.
I've actually done that, but it's cool. You keep talking.
You've done it. Okay. Well, then you and the rest of the audience can help me with this one. So I'm working with a client, and I am desperately trying to find the bottleneck, because the bottleneck is one of those little bastards, as you put it. It does keep moving around, and at the moment the product people sort of seem to be the bottleneck, because there's lots of research happening and not many in-flight projects. So at first, I saw this graph today that made me go, that's it, that's the bottleneck. But actually it kind of isn't the bottleneck, because there's only the project managers working on that. So that can't be the bottleneck. And then the product people think the tech people are the bottleneck, and they're going, they're the reason why we're not delivering stuff, because they're the bottleneck. And they keep telling us that the reason they haven't delivered stuff is because we haven't told them the right stuff to deliver. And then the tech people are saying, well, that's actually what it is. But equally, we've got delivery people sort of going, but they're not really delivering stuff, and they're not really. So this kind of like there's a bottleneck there somewhere, right? But I don't know where it is, and this could be in 3 places, and I've no idea, because we're in COVID stages as well. So it's kind of like trying to find a bottleneck in this kind of really difficult virtual world is also twice as hard. So any thoughts for me on
Is it a
Do they know
bottleneck
what
in a haystack?
Go
Is
for
everyone
it. Go for it.
busy? Is everyone being busy?
Yes, very busy, especially developers, and I don't think they're necessarily oh gosh,
Okay.
I better check who's on here.
Yeah.
Think
Can I
so.
tell you
All right,
that
I think I'm fine. It's all right.
I think you're safe, but do check.
I think I've just described the solution to the bottleneck, but not where the bottleneck is. So it might not be obvious that, but the developers should be the bottleneck. The people in front of them, in terms of a flow of work here, they should have plenty of capacity and time to do it, and to feed them. But what you've got is, if I could go and break these apart, I've got over here, there, I've got your people who are feeding the team. They're there. They're working as a silo, and you've got your developers over here and your development team there. And so the step that needs to happen is the stuff that happens just in here, the stuff that happens, the interface between the customers and the developers. You need to sit down and put a deliberate bottleneck in before the developers. And to use the words in my book, you need to curate the work that's coming through, because they're acting like they're two football teams, and they're blaming each other and they're competing with each other, but they're actually one team. And so you've got to get them working together. So they've all told you that the symptoms here are that they're pointing fingers, understandably, but they're also busy. And
both busy.
The reality. So you need to separate them, but then put them back together deliberately with something in the middle, which curates and is deliberately choking the work and managing it. And sit there and say,
it's brilliant, because I had this like eureka moment today, and I think that's the answer. But Simone, sorry, you had a point.
I was just going to say, I find this fascinating, but so your point around the Tabasco sauce has a different size bottleneck to the champagne bottle. How would you know if the bottleneck is there and it's in the right place, but it's not wide enough?
Because you're not doing enough. So imagine you've got the bottleneck. I helped a little a COVID team a couple of weeks ago, and they were doing the testing. They were setting up a testing station, and they had set up a good process, and they had 3 nurses, they had doctors, and then they had a person doing the testing, and they were getting 50 people a day through, and they should probably have been getting about 200 a day through. And so the initial bit was that the bottleneck was the doctors, because they weren't intensely inside the system, so there were lots and lots of delays. They also had appointments and stuff, so that was it was like having badly sequenced traffic lights. So imagine that you got them there and you go, these guys are the bottleneck, and it suddenly shoots up from the capacity, the whole system suddenly shoots up from 50 a day to 150 a day, and you go, that's good, but we have 500 people a day, so we can't keep up. So so you could have a really well-run system there with the bottleneck in the right place, but the whole system effectively has way too much demand, and it doesn't have the capacity to do it. So when you get to that situation, you might go, okay, rather than fixing that particular stream, why don't we just replicate it? Another, copy and paste and have the same setup again, and then you can scale up that way. But if you can't see the bottleneck, it was the same situation. They were all blaming each other, but then when they just talked it through, it was so obvious, what was going on, unless you're stuck inside it.
That's really interesting that you would say replicate it. I hadn't thought of it like that way, because obviously if you add more developers, then you're getting rid of the bottleneck altogether and you've got back to square one. So you need to just keep the bottleneck. Just create another bottleneck.
Oh, I like you, Simone. I like you. That's exactly.
I like you too.
A mutual appreciation society.
Once you get the bottleneck, so I'm finishing off I'm putting together a course on this, and as I look back at it, how it's not until you actually start writing things or writing them down and reflecting on things that you realize stuff. And I felt stupid because I realized that I spent a lot of my career instinctively getting the bottleneck in the right place to be developers, and then watching it crumble away because people didn't protect it. So a couple of years ago, I had breakfast with a chap, and he just asked for some help, and he was describing his team, and it's just a situation kind of similar to what you got there. And I said, oh, look, I didn't tell you that this is what you're aiming for, right? You want this team, and you want the developers to be bottleneck. So upstream, they've got plenty of time to get people to feed them. And then after that, they got plenty of time to test it and give really quick feedback. And he sits there and he just goes paler and paler and paler. And I go, okay, why? This is, he goes, my team is like that. So really, I go, well, that's brilliant. Well done. Yeah, but I've just hired 5 more developers. So you see there how easy it is
Not
to get
realise.
this. Can I ask just an opinion here?
Sorry.
There's a you know how people say things are half-assed, right? And I think a lot of agile implementations are half-assed. And I do think that this is not good language. That they become fully
fine.
asked. You know, when you add the bottleneck management on, but I think they become beautiful. And this is I would really love to call my approach the Calipagus approach, because if you look it up in the dictionary, it's a wonderful word. Calipagus means to have perfectly proportioned buttocks.
This is true. I'm familiar with this term.
Is
I am actually familiar with this term. It's not the first time I've heard it.
I'm not sure whether we should ask
the
why,
year
though,
they go,
Andrew.
I'm Jamaican. I am Jamaican is standard teaching when you're growing up in from the islands. This is what happens.
Okay.
Yes, standard teaching. This is very, very important stuff. Clark's right there, mate. Right there with you. Fundamental logic here.
It's a shame though, because it should be the word that I use. I'm looking for a word to describe the perfectly shaped team in terms of bottlenecks, because if it's not, it's half-assed. But to call it fully assed makes it sound like it's really bad. But to call it Calipagus, I'm not sure from a marketing point of view. Any thoughts? Send them on a postcard.
Can I come in there? Because just for anyone who, when I do lean training and I talk about bottlenecks, I talk about the M42 and the M25. And apologies for anyone who doesn't know the M42. It's the circle. It's the ring road of Birmingham. And M25, obviously, you probably all know that one. It's the ring road, essentially, of London. And the difference between the M42 and the M25 is what Clarke's talking about there. So the M25, when you get a bottleneck, when you get issues with the M25, what they do is when there's too much traffic, they add more lanes. So you end up like, in some places, there's like 5 lanes on the M25.
Yeah, they put it in a bigger bottle.
And there's just like more traffic goes on M25. The M42 is absolutely amazing, because what they do on the M42 is they do something very counterintuitive. They put traffic lights at the start on the island before you get on the motorway. So what does that do? It limits flow onto the motorway. So you're limiting
a deliberate bottleneck.
Deliberate bottleneck, and it makes the traffic flow better. So the M42 hardly has any problems, and the M25 is a nightmare.
But that's a great example, because I tried to employ something. I tried to employ something similar when I was at Schroders, and trying to do this kind of work in progress limits across the whole piece. The challenge I had was, if I'm honest, was the fact that they kept saying to me that, yes, but Andrew, it's costing us money every day. And I'm saying, yes, but you're making money at the end of it.
That's the trouble.
That's the problem. The problem I had was equating the two. I'm not the best mathematician in the world, but making people understand that, yes, it's going slower, but you are getting milk at the end of you're getting some produce at the end of it.
It's actually not running slower. The whole system's running faster. The moment you limit, the system's actually running faster, but people aren't busy. Yeah. And people there's a proxy in people's head between being busy and being productive. And when you understand the idea of the bottleneck, it's one of these startling and most difficult things. And it's one of those things that, do you remember I said Goldratt wrote this book, The Goal, and it was and he wrote to convince the accountants that they needed to change their measures, and then his software would work really well. The prime measurement that they used to have was utilization. And they still have it in a lot of factories. With utilization is you were employed for 8 hours a day. How many hours were you working? And they would try and run their factories to keep everyone busy. And when you do that, everything slows down. It's the enemy of this. If I used to say that the enemy of agile is command and control, and the enemy of bottleneck management is I call it utilization syndrome. In fact, it is actually, there's a syndrome that my wife works with old people. She's an old age psychiatrist, and she said that I'm not sure if it's a formal name, but people know it as utilization syndrome, which is that sometimes when people have lost most of themselves, the bit that will often remain is this need to be busy. So some of their patients, and my grandmother actually had this when she was in the old folks home. She more or less gone, but she had to keep busy, so they would bring her cutlery and they'd pop it down and she would line it all up, and then they come back and they turn around and they just keep her busy. And I think for a lot of us that's innate, that we have to be utilized to feel good. But there's also belief that it's a logical belief that if you see people who aren't busy, then you think they're lazy, or we're paying for them, we've got to keep them working. So that's a rather long answer. It's the enemy.
I have many West Indian elderly ladies in church who suffer from utilization syndrome, as you put it.
Yes.
Never really thought of that, but yeah, it just makes sense. God.
Yes, has to be
busy.
busy.
Ingrained in us. It's ingrained. There's some things like there's just some stuff. Some of it's cultural, but like an extreme example where you could look at what happens as a kind of like a metaphor of what you wouldn't do is you don't want your firefighters to be 100% busy. You want them to be reactive. So hang on, we're now going to change it so all the firefighters get measured and rewarded on how busy they are and utilization. And if you're fighting fires 7 hours a day, you get a bonus. So all the firefighters go out and start lighting fires. And that kind of is what happens with the developers when they're not busy. But developers are different. If they're not busy, they will find stuff that actually is usually not good to start working on. If you have, say, testers can start doing more bash testing and stuff. They can start doing other things. Analysts can spend more time thinking, but developers can start creating code that gets half completed and can't be tested and stuff. And so that. Sorry, I'm going on and on and on about this.
It's all good stuff, though.
It's amazing. I love it. I could geek out all day. I have to say, Clarke, I love this stuff. I've had such a great evening so far. I'm really sorry. We've got to move on to the next bit. Has anybody got any other closing? I know Simone's making that face. I know. Maybe we need to do another. Maybe we need to
another
do
session
round 2 or a podcast. I actually think a podcast might be quite good. Clarke. Does anybody have any closing questions? Because it has been an hour. I know it doesn't feel like it, but it really has.
Wow.
Around value stream mapping, and have you had the opportunity to use that within one of your consultancy gigs? It's a valuable method of filtering out the noise in order to identify where your bottlenecks are.
Value stream mapping.
Value stream mapping. Don't do it for bottleneck stuff. Your purpose. It's one of those things that we're trained to do. We've been techniques to map out everything. I'm doing some stuff where I'm trying to figure out how I can get people to pay me any money at the moment, the way the world is. And I'm busy documenting all my knowledge and stuff, and it's really satisfying. And I've got lots of details. I'm adding this and adding this. And it's just ingrained in us. But when we go to do value stream mapping, the purpose is to document the system and to make it clear. If you're trying to find your bottleneck and speed it up, you just need to look for the cues and the rework. A friend of mine, he's brilliant. He works for Skyscanner and he's the director of lean operations. A lovely bloke called Laz Allen. And when I coached him, I taught him this stuff, and he's gone off and done it really, really well. But he started out saying, I'm going to go do, I've got a whole team I've set up, I'm going to go do value stream mapping. And I because that instinctively is how you figure out how things are. But you don't need much information to find this. The only information you need to start with really is where's the build-up of work? Where's the backlog sitting here? And then And then you can take that. It's almost like, I found the body. Now there's that's the first sign that there's a crime, and then go from there. You don't need to go into a lot of detail. I'm not saying in other circumstances that it's a bad idea to do that, but to find your bottleneck, you just need to really look for the cue, and then go and try and untangle it, like Steph described doing. It's the untangling that is tricky, trying to figure out how everything works. But you don't need a huge amount of detail to do that. Good question, though.
Awesome. Any more questions for Clarke?
I was wondering, talking about bottlenecks has common parlance and it's pejorative. People think of it as a bad thing, and clearly understanding that there's always going to be a bottleneck, and that actually having the right one is a good thing, is a paradigm shift for people. What language do you use to take people on that paradigm shift?
In the book, I don't actually talk about bottlenecks so much if I'm working with teams and or with people. I tell them a joke, and I'll give you the really fast version of the joke. The proper one's in the book. This is a really quick version. It came from Cheers, but it never came from Cheers. It was an email that it said it came from Cheers in the early 2000s. And Cliff Clavin says, "Oh, Norm, you know that when buffalo run, across the plains, they run at the speed of the slowest buffalo, obviously, which keeps them together. That's limiting whip. And they run at the speed of the slowest one, and that's always the one at the back. And the ones in front just run at that speed." You go, "Oh, okay, great. Yeah, interesting concept." And it's partly true. But he says, when they run, evolution has, nature speeds them up, because when wolves attack, they can't attack at the sides because the herd is strong, and they attack at the back. So they attack the weakest one, Granny, who's running at the back. The wolves eat Granny, and then the whole herd becomes faster and stronger. And you go, "Oh, okay, right." That's so you've now got the herd running together, which is limiting whip, which is what we want. We have the and now we have the bottleneck, the concept there. So people go, "Okay, right, got this." They're not translating it at the moment. And then but the joke bit is that when we and then Cliff says, and it's a little known fact, that when we drink alcohol, it's a well-known fact that when we drink alcohol, it kills brain cells. Okay, right. But of course, naturally, nature has evolved so that when you drink alcohol, it kills the slowest brain cells, and that's why when you drink, you get smarter. And then everyone falls over laughing, and then they have a laugh, and then they turn, and you go, "Ah." And they always have a laugh at the big drinker in the team. And then they, you say, "Well, okay, who's the slowest buffalo here?" And they all turn and they go, "It's you guys, isn't it?" And everyone, because they've laughed together, they go, "Oh, okay." It's the thing. It's the simplest thing, but I'm so proud of that little joke. I didn't make it up, but it just it's like a smiling Trojan horse. It gets past all of those. When I talk about bottlenecks, unlike to people like you who are interested in this, if you talk about it, ordinary people, they fall asleep. You couldn't talk about this to someone while they're driving because it would be dangerous. But if you tell them the joke, it's like a smiling Trojan horse, and it gets into the head. They get the two concepts: keep the herd together, and the herd runs at the speed of the slowest one. If you want to speed it up, you speed that up. "Oh, do we have someone?" "Yeah, it's you guys. It's the testers." And then you leave it to them. Once they've got the concepts, if you want to help them, you just guide them. You just keep them. You give them a little bit of guide rails. So my book has a formula in it where I've called it FOCUS, FOCCUS, because it's all about focusing. And the F is for find the bottleneck, then you optimize the bottleneck, and then you coordinate everything else around the bottleneck. You collaborate by asking how the non-bottlenecks can help the bottleneck. You curate your work, which is a really, really powerful one. You know, you look at what's coming into your system and you ruthlessly curate your work for value. Yeah, that's hugely important. You upgrade. So like my PC is too slow. It's slowing down my entire office. I think I need to upgrade the PC, or maybe just upgrade the RAM. And then this last one is to start again, but to do it strategically, which is where you don't just accept where the bottleneck is or where it's going to move to next. You decide, I want it to be there. So
one more question then on that is that
yes.
Regularly the upgrade in software teams is always, how can I make my developers faster? So people get the bottleneck at the developer point, but then they blame the developers and it becomes a pejorative situation again, right? And they think, oh, we can just upgrade the developers. And now you can't always find money to add an entire parallel team. So that's when you're at maximum flow efficiency for the team model that you have, you do need to look at utilization efficiency, or you need to look at value stream mapping to understand the other constraints around the system, right? Like failure demand patterns and things.
Yeah, you could look at those, but to get you going, actually have a read of the last chapter. It's the one with, actually it's not the last chapter, I always thought it was, but it's one with whiteboards in it like that. And that situation there, the 3 C's that are in there, I'll tell you a little bit about the focusing. Right? So find the bottleneck. Okay, that's usually when the light bulbs come on and people suddenly start getting all sorts of ideas about what they could do. But they usually jump to one of 2 places, which is either the O, which is optimize, or the U, which is to upgrade. And depending on who you are, you'll either look and try and squeeze as much out of them as you can, which is optimizing. And often with people, they're already optimized. They're already doing things as sensibly as they can. The upgrade is sometimes, or just chuck money at the problem, or get more of them. And often that creates more problems than it fixes. There's a famous guy from Nelson who he did his work in Manchester, Rutherford, Ernst Rutherford. He split the atom, got the Nobel Prize. And so he grew up just around the corner from where I live now. But he has this lovely quote where they got their funding cut, and he walks into this room and he says, "Gentlemen," and they all were gentlemen back then, "Gentlemen, we've run out of money, so we're going to have to think." And this is where the thinking comes in. So we don't go to the upgrade. If there's not much in the optimize, we think about how can we get the non-bottlenecks helping the whole team as a whole by helping the bottlenecks go faster. And what I've consistently found is that the real magic in that process, that light bulb moment comes from finding the bottleneck, the F. The 3 C's are where the creativeness comes in for getting clever ideas. It's when the non-bottlenecks and the bottlenecks sit down, they figure out how they can work together and how they could offload a little bit of stuff to the developers. And these are conversations that when you hear about them, you go, "Oh, that's freaking obvious. Why didn't they do it before?" It's because they've been working in silos before. And it was when you crunch them together and focus them on solving a different problem, which is how can we all work together as one team, given that we have a bottleneck resource, how can we all help each other? And so this is the facilitation kind of skills that comes around getting people to focus on that and then work on fixing that. And real magic, just it's the sort of insights that has to come from inside the team that you can chuck a process at a team, but you can't, the insights you give them aren't nearly as good as what they'll come up with.
I think I feel like I've employed the same things by trying to make, stories smaller and break them into very, very smaller parts, or ensure that I have, 20 people sat in a room for the same 3 days while we're all arguing about it, at least. So I think I've employed the same things. It's just you've got a sweeter way of describing it. So thank you.
It takes a long time to a lot of rewriting to get the sweet way. Thank you, though.
Awesome. So does anyone else have any other questions for Clarke? I know we've had him going for an hour and 15 now. So
yeah, this has been like a record for sure. But I've enjoyed every single minute of it. It's brilliant. We have to do a podcast. We have to.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Clarke, for taking the time. Really appreciate it. I think for everyone, it's been incredibly useful.
Oh, cool. Thank you. My pleasure. Hey, if you want to catch up with me, LinkedIn, just go connect to me on LinkedIn. If you want a copy of that, I'll send you a PDF copy as well. That is really that for me is my masterpiece. This is the one that people will get the most out of, though. Yeah.
Well, if you want if you want a paperback copy of the book, then we have a little exercise going on next for those that are still up for the next stage. So you can actually win paperback copies of both of Clarke's books, if you follow us into the adventure next. So who is with us on the next stage of the adventure?
How long will it take, Stephanie?
You can go at any time, so you can go in and
cool.
go, okay, I'm going to be here.
I'm going to go. I'm struggling to stay awake. Clarke's done a really good job, though, of keeping me awake. So thank you very much, Clarke. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to say thank you for that. It was really informative. I've got the PDF, so I'll have a read of that. So I do appreciate that. You guys have a great evening. I'm going to go and do what she tells me to do.
So obedient.
It's taken many years of practice, of training, and I'm a very good project and program manager, which is why I obey my stakeholder.
That's very good. I wish someone explained to my husband about his stakeholders.
There you go. So I'm contactable. Anybody wants me, but you guys, Josh, as always, man.
Are we going to share? How do we share people's? So LinkedIn, basically, yeah, is probably the best. Right. So anyone who's still around, are we ready to go into the wonderful world? Clarke, are you going to?
Hi. Thank you very much.
I will actually
Take care, Evangelo.
leave.
Clarke, was that you saying that? Sorry.
Of course, we know it's.
Yeah, I'll unless you need me.
No, it's fine. You get on with your day, because we know that you haven't had a load of wine, so that's fine.
I haven't. No. I
hasn't even had a load of coffee. Well, a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. The coffee might be feature here. Anyway, honestly, thank you, guys.
I really want to do a podcast, so we'll be in touch, because if you can spare the time, I'd love to do a podcast. It'd be great.
Yeah, love to. Yeah.
Right.
That was great. Thanks, Clarke. Lovely.
Take care.
Thank you. Speak soon.
Bye. Right, is everyone oh God, sorry. It's because I've got this thing, because I need to show people how to get on if they aren't already online. So anyone who's not already, I think, Doug, you're the only one who hasn't got an account so far.
What is it? Sorry, and I'll see if I can join in, and if not, I'll have to play the next time.
Yeah, you don't have to, but it's fun.
Show me what's going on, at least.
Okay, right. So this is something called African Life, which is normally, sorry, I'm just trying to get it right.
Did you say African Life?
No, African Life. So it is normally a place where teenagers hang out, but what we've done is created a little area of African Life that nobody else can get to. So all these people here that I'm connected to, they're actually all people.
It's all of us.
It's all of us.
Right.
It's all people who've been on these sessions. So we have these author sessions, and we what we do is, hello Andrew, what we do is we get everyone into African Life, and we tell people probably best not to go outside of the area that we've created. It's generally full of people who want you to be their girlfriend or boyfriend.
I risked going to the fair the other day. I went on the fairground rides, and the next day I'd got friend requests from random strangers. I was like, oh, Steph, it's happened.
So maybe just stay within the world we've created, which is full of IT professionals. So all these people are IT professionals that are on the Magic Maestros app, which is probably the much more grown-up version of this. But when we have a few drinks, we like to just do something that's a bit different in the COVID crisis and just make people laugh. And the last time we did this in this format, we've actually did it with the Scouts recently, a team building event, and that was really good.
That was really good.
But last time we did this on this situation, everybody just absolutely it was kind of like when COVID had just hit, and everyone laughed for they laughed for about half an hour. I just remember feeling like it was just the best medicine for what was going on. So by all means, just go whenever you feel that it's got too much for you, but I do encourage you to just have a little go because it's fun. So all you need to do is download African Life on the app. So Helen's online now.
I am.
So if you go on to, if you're on iPhone or
Simone is as well.
Simone's already there.
Yeah.
I'm missing Alice though. I thought Alice would come. Maybe she was put off by the bottleneck bit because it is quite geeky, but I have to say I love it. Are you, Doug, are you on Android or Apple?
Android.
In that case, I should be able to send you an invitation. Right, so the link, right, I'll just email it to you. Probably the best way to do it. What is your email, Doug?
Just douglas.talbot, TALBOT @gmail.com.
Okay. Just trying to make sure I'm spelling it all right. A few glasses. So if you click on that link, it should get you to download it. And then once you're downloaded, you'll be in the same place as everybody else, which is downloaded application. And then it'll ask you to do an avatar and stuff. So sometimes it randomly assigns you a name and an avatar already, but you can amend all that stuff. But if you keep us posted at where you're up to, sorry, this isn't very good. So you end up, once you've gone in, and you'll have
Josh, are you on? Have you managed to get yourself a male one this time?
I'm still the same person at the moment, so I'm
You can create a second one, like Steph was saying earlier, and you can make it a male one.
I didn't have a chance today in the end because we ended up being quite
Yeah, we were busy today, but now's the perfect time.
I've run out of wine. This is not good.
Oh, I haven't.
This I thought this camera was really good, but when you're trying to show people another screen, it's not very good.
Yeah, it's a bit glary.
I guess it is that this camera isn't very good. Yeah, for glare, that is the problem with it. It's like when the sun shines on me. And so I'm sat in a place, I get the sunshine on me, and it just... Apologies for the slightly sort of inappropriate pilot costume, but you'll see why in a minute. There isn't another option for the pilot costume.
It's too hard to quite make out what it is.
Well, you'll see in a minute. You'll see that I've got my legs out. I haven't got my legs out in real life, I promise. This is the problem with African Life. It's all a little bit teeny, but I promise when you get into the actual thing, it's all very...
All of it is, though. I found
all very professional inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, so how are you getting on, Doug?
It's slowly firing its way through install and up.
Obviously, you can remove it later if you get...
Hey, I'm going to be able to pretend I have hair again. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is the best bit.
I pretend I have a waist again, and
I can pretend I got legs like that.
Yeah.
And I own a monkey. I I do own a monkey, but she doesn't look like that. She's like 3 and blonde. So let us know when you get there.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you get the. So now you should have an avakin or an avatar. So if you just want to kind of make it sort of livable with.
Yeah, because you can get lost for hours making it perfect. So don't perhaps do that right now.
That's the trouble with having a New Zealander. As normally we start this thing at 8, so we don't lose.
Right, yeah.
People, so.
Yeah, I'm a New Zealander too. I just happen to be in London, so there you are.
So you didn't mind too much.
I spent quite a lot of time in Nelson, where Clarke was from.
That's where I was from. Yeah.
I was wondering if you would have been from the same place. He was talking about that, but then I assumed not when he said Nelson.
No, it's pretty small, and there's not a lot of what I'd call there are people. Most of the IT consultants who live in Nelson would commute to Wellington, which is where I was living. So
yeah,
I lived with a New Zealander for 2 years in London, and it was really funny. The one day I was like, Tanya, I've got a bug in my room. And she was like, book? What book? And I was like, no, a bug. And it was like the difference between like the New Zealand accent and the Black Country accent was just like causing a massive problem.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I mean like a fly. And she was like, what book? I should have invited her tonight, actually. Then it would have been in New Zealand. It would have been an NZ Kiwi Fest.
She'd have loved it.
She would. I need to actually, yeah. I do need to reach out because she's one of the people that's on their own, which I'm sure she prefers, but it must get a bit annoying at times being on your own.
So you should jump in and show me what you're doing anyway, and
so while
I'm going through this process.
Okay, yeah. So once you're there, what you need to do is add the friends. So you need to add. Helen, do you want to shout out your code?
Yeah, by all means, I can do.
I'll show mine as well. There's my friend code. If you add a friend, you can either add. Well, it's good to add me and add Helen.
Yeah.
And then both of us. So mine's TKM-JF6.
Mine is, hold on, it doesn't want to...
So I'm assuming that's in the make friends bit.
Yeah.
No.
Tell me when you found it, because I've got mine to give you as
well. Okay, where do we add the friend code?
Yeah, I think is it invite?
I think you go to friends.
Friends, hold on. Friends, yeah.
And then there's a grey invite button at the top on the right.
Look. Yeah.
Then you have to say add friend code.
Add friend code. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Add friend code. That's it.
And then our codes are. Mine's there. If you can make it out.
We can't read that stuff. You're going to need to read it out.
TKM-JF6.
Do you need to put the dash in, or do you just keep typing?
No, you put the hyphen.
Do you? I thought you just did it.
Unless it puts it in automatically, because it's been a while since I've added one myself.
I think it does. I think you just put
JF6, is it?
JKM-JF6, yeah.
Oh, TKM, yeah, JF6, okay. Friend request in, there you are.
Fabulous. Do you want to pop mine? Mine's TFJ.
Yeah.
Then hyphen 2NG.
Okay.
Fab.
Okay.
Oh, yep, I've got something through.
All right.
Are you odds to 42?
That's the one.
That's okay, then now I've accepted it.
Right, I just need to make you my...
Yay, we're friends. So, Steph, where are we off to?
Right, so the first place we need to go. Now, bear in mind this is competition, but there is only 2 of you, so it'd be fairly easy. So Simone's already won a book before.
I was just going to say, what yourself down.
I'm playing in that case. But Josh, where are you? Come on, we want more competition.
What, so Simone, you're not playing? Or?
She is.
No, she is, but it's just
she won last time.
Oh, right, she's already got the book.
You know what?
It was a different book.
Which one did you get? Oh, the PM Bollocks one. This one. Project management, it's all bollocks. Which I have to agree with, I have to say. I don't think that was the point of the book, really, but I have to say project management is generally bollocks.
I will be on there in 2 minutes and back on video again.
All right, no problem. Right.
Sorting out his Avakin, it's going to take a while.
Sorry, I got so into Clarke stuff that I was making loads of notes, so I've lost my notes of where we go next. The first place we're going is a plane, isn't it, Helen?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Get on the plane. You can just join either me or Steph. That's probably the easiest way to find it.
Yeah, in fact, that is best. Right, so I'm going to go on the plane, and you guys just join either one of us. It's the Howard Clarke jet. Simone, you'll have a laugh at that.
Yeah. But so basically, if you go onto your friends, you see me or Steph, and along by the side of us, it's got profile and friend invite or join. And if you click on join for either me or Steph, you'll join us.
Right. Happening theoretically. Okay. The Howard Clarke jet. Okay.
Can't believe I'm level 13. I really have got an addiction now.
Yeah, you're cheating. I'm only level 8 and I only went up to level 8 today.
Where did you get the time?
Well, the thing is, we've kind of got a reason to do it, right? It's a good excuse. It's kind of like, I've got to build this virtual world.
I keep telling the kids, they find me playing on it and I'm like, it's work, Mommy's really working.
No, but honestly, I have to say, I think there's a psychological benefit to this. There's obviously the dopamine hit, which we're obviously getting on a regular basis when we get coins and stuff. But I think because the COVID thing is so like you can't go outside, what I love about this is I think there's 2 elements of it. I think one is the fact you can free range, obviously, in the world. But secondly, before I started doing this, I was doing loads of music and creative things. But it's really difficult to do music, to find the time, because it's obviously quite noisy. And if you've got children, you can't do it past a certain time. Whereas this, I could just quietly do it by myself. And the creativity of like choosing wallpaper and stuff, I know it's just really banal, but
shopping without actually going shopping.
Yeah, shopping without shopping. I think it's a real girl thing. Like girls really have got into this in quite a big way. It's like you see the people who like in the friend list, it's like there's so many women, like 40.
And the fact that I can have houses all over the world with swimming pools and jacuzzis and hot tubs that I'd never be able to afford.
Exactly, it's great.
Also, it's gone down well getting a team to come in here and be on a Zoom call and kind of shut down Zoom, and they're still talking, but everyone's going to the little conference center or doing the team building stuff, but in the app.
The team building thing really works. Yeah, we did a 5 behaviours kind of like, here's the 5 behaviours, like it was literally an hour recap for a team that we did 5 behaviours with. And then we put them into the world, and then they were finding symbols of the 5 behaviours around the world. And it was just a way of getting them to do some, because it was
team building.
They didn't have any, obviously they don't have any money anymore, and it was like everyone was really down. They were about to have this massive big kind of rally cry really to save it out. So just before that we did this team building thing, and it was really, really good for them, and it was educational as well. And then
did any of you go to Agi Next? Did any of you go to the Agi Next conference at the beginning of the lockdown?
No, what was that?
It's an agile conference that was meant to be in London, but it's called Agi Next. It's meant to be kind of focused on future trends, if you will. And it ended up having to be remote because it was just after the lockdown, and it was like there was 3 days notice or something. So they ran, but one of the people there ran agile and lean kind of simulation games in Fortnite.
Okay,
and because it's like full, like real time 3D run around world, they had like timed races between relay teams trying to do different kind of flow efficiency tests or figure out how they were going to combine, sort of like playing the pizza game or the coin game or something, but with much more kind of interactive and jumping across chasms and all that kind of stuff, which was really quite fun.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. Worked really well as a teaching model.
Yeah, gamification, I'm massively into it. I just think it's huge. And the thing is, you'll always remember the time when Clarke taught you bottleneck stuff. You know, it does just sort of hang in the air. Like, has anybody actually? Is anyone?
I'm on the I'm on the plane and I can't see anyone.
I'm on the plane.
You're not in the right compartment, I don't think. Am I in the right?
How do we change compartments?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Actually, yeah, if you come up to me, because I'm next to the flight deck, so...
Okay, I'm just going to come and join you then.
I think that's what's going on.
Okay, I don't know whether I'm going forwards or backwards, but...
Well, you can't go that far in the plane, that's the good thing about it.
Got you.
Hello. You just seem to appear from the flight deck, that's weird.
You know, I just pressed join you instead of walking up and down trying to find you.
Oh, I see.
I cheated.
Okay.
There is some really dodgy flight playing music, I don't know if you notice.
No, I've turned it off. But
I've got and mine, because I've got the headphones on for the laptop. It doesn't let me play. I can't hear the music from the phone. It won't play both at the same time. It would appear.
So I can't see anyone else. Simone, where are you?
I'm with Doug, I think.
We're coming down the cockpit line now, and there's no one in here.
Oh, I'm going to go and sit there and drink that champagne.
Go sit down.
We're here. You lot are the ones disappeared. We're now in the flight deck. By the way.
So are we. We're on in the cockpit.
Yeah, we're in the cockpit, but I don't know where you are, Steph.
Oh, so
I'm drinking champagne in one of the posh seats.
Hang on, did you join us?
Yeah, and you were there for a minute, and then you both disappeared.
Oh God.
See, we couldn't see you.
But now where are you? So there's the deck, and then there's that.
Do that join thing again. Press join
we'll
for
do
Steph,
that,
and then you
should
should
join thing again. Sometimes this plays up. It's really annoying because you're like, okay, this is a great game, but
sorry, who is Steph?
Well, I'm Maestro Maker.
Yeah, Maestro Maker. There, look at that. I can see Simone. You're looking good in that red suit.
I spent a little bit of time. Oh my God.
I was going to say, you weren't in that last time. You've changed.
I know. I got into it afterwards for a little while.
There we go.
And then it just reminded me too much of my son.
Okay.
So I was getting flashbacks.
There we go, Doug. I'm trying to turn around.
Oh, Doug, there you are. Hello.
Made it in.
Come and drink some champagne.
Everyone sit down and have a drink, because I'm about to do my welcome aboard.
Oh, can you do that? The exits are here, here, and here thing, just to make me laugh.
Yeah.
Josh, where are you?
I'm just having a little call with the captain. Look.
Yeah, no, I'm just checking where Josh is.
Emergency exits here.
We lost him.
Here.
Oh, you are going to do it.
How are you doing that?
That's brilliant.
It's just a pose. You can have poses. I had to pay.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
In other environments, it lets you dance and do all kinds of crazy poses, but it won't let you do it on the plane.
Anyway, enjoy the flight. Anyway.
Thank you.
Just going to go and say hello to the captain.
Here you go. I'm going to dance on the plane.
Have you got a wand? Oh my God. So cool.
I lost the witch's hat, but I've got the wand. It's fine.
A tattoo as well. Oh my God.
Do you like my posh necklace tattoo? I've got other clothes as well. I've been busy shopping.
Tattoo. Oh my God.
Gonna have a little, I might have a wardrobe change in a minute. Right, is everyone? I think everyone's seen enough of the plane.
Did you pay for the tattoo? I'm really impressed.
No, I didn't pay for it. No, I got it for free.
Yeah, I got loads of tattoos. So it's a bit. You can tell it's a teeny thing because it's like they get tattoos for free. I was a bit like, I'm not sure.
I was supposed to get a whole bunch of new tattoos, and then COVID broke out. My midlife crisis upgrade.
Well, you know what? You can get them on this game. No problem.
No problem. No.
Oh my God! Look at my dancing. Oh my God.
The problem is, when I was a teenager, you would literally cost you a couple of quid because you weren't really that bothered. Now you're an adult, you have to overanalyze it. They have to be a piece of art, and the proper artist tattoos cost 300 or 400 quid.
My sister's had her teenage one redone and changed it all, and I'm like laughing at her going, I told you when you had it you'd regret that. She went, yeah, but now it looks amazing. I'm like, yeah, okay.
No, I've been on the waiting list for this artist in New York, and it's like his waiting list is like 2.5 years long.
No way.
Right, I'm going to go to the new place, but look out because I'm about to change my garb. So I would like everyone to come and join me next in Game of Drones, it's called.
Are we going to go to Game of Drones? Okay. What clothes shall I wear for that?
I've just got to find it, that's the problem. But look out because I'm not going to look like you expect me to look.
And so how would you find that?
Right, so you just have to join me. So you have to go to...
We'll let Steph go, and then once she's gone, we'll join her. That's the easiest.
Yeah.
What's the way that you would find these different interactive places, though?
So if you go to friends' apartments...
Oh, right, okay.
Or if you want to be really dodgy, you can just travel.
Yeah.
We've flown there in the plane.
And this takes you to all sorts of really random places.
With really random people.
Us.
Has everyone got it?
Right, I'm coming to find you now.
It's very like, it just reminds me of playing Sims.
Yeah, that's what I said. It is very much like Sims.
So I'm too old for Sims.
Interactive
I was going to
Sims,
say,
yeah.
I never did this, sorry. No.
Or like a World of Warcraft. When it
I
was
did World of Warcraft, that was I was quite old.
I didn't do that either. Hey, looks like my dress, Simone.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I've got a Mexican house, so I have to have Mexican clothes to go with it. So I thought I'd wear my Mexican outfit.
I've got New York apartment. I'm actually living my dream.
Oh.
See, the girls have really got into it, I have to say. I'm going to have to close the curtains in here.
This is the scene out of Harry Potter.
I love this one.
It's Game of Thrones.
My favourite.
Right, come on then, let's get going. Come on.
Be careful because you have to look for a chest of jewels in this, but you also have to look out for me because I've turned to the other side and I'm not nice now. So if you see me running around.
So what are we looking for? A chest of
jewels.
Okay. Now, I want to be this is where I can ice skate. Look at this. Oh.
If you find the chest of jewels, then we'll send you Rolling Rocks Downhill. We'll send you his book.
Look, I'm Elsa out of Frozen. The kids would be so proud.
Oh, I can see you all.
I'm skating. Woo!
Yes, quick, Penny.
Right, okay.
Manspreading at the moment. It's very bizarre. As a woman. Manspreading as a woman.
Okay. I've just realised that on the pillar there, it's the crest, because it was red and green. I thought, oh, they're really good, aren't they? They've got recycling and everything in this medieval cast. I might have had a bit of wine.
No, I thought that. I have to say,
Did you think that? It's recycling in a medieval castle? No, it's a crest.
Poor Doug, though. He must think we're lunatics because we've all done it before.
It's certainly awkward to interact with. I'm so used to a mouse.
And no one
like that, Des.
Definitely had actually done it before. So we were all going, what the hell is this?
Yeah. Like the first time I went on it, I think Steph would say there was a lot of moaning. I really was moaning.
Oh, you look ugly now. What is that about? You got horns.
Yeah, hello.
She's the devil.
Can I fight you?
Yeah, you can fight me. Hang on. Oh, can't get up. Hang on, I've got a little pose that's menacing. Hang on. Got a menacing pose.
Oh my God, you got red eyes.
Wow.
Josh, where are you?
I think I'm in the same place as you all. I just can't see anyone.
What, did you just travel there or did you join Steph?
I joined Steph.
So why haven't we seen you? Hey,
Simone,
I can see Doug.
Simone, check out my menacing pose.
You're floating.
Oh, there you are. I found you.
It's quite Game of Thronesy, isn't it?
I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
Oh.
see, I don't think you don't. You just look like, I don't know. You look like something out of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's like I think it's a bit Game of Thrones stroke Lord of the Rings, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not way too intelligent for me. I'm much more Harry Potter and Charmed.
Oh no, but I love Harry Potter as well. You're fine. You're in good company.
Oh, I can do something actually, Helen. If you just stand still, there is
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, I went through a door. Hold on, I'll come back. I'll come back.
Oh, hang on. No, I've followed you.
Oh.
Right, you can actually do this. Like, oh God.
Go on.
Right. Oh no, it's disappeared.
Who's the dog?
One of her pets.
Oh no, I can do it actually.
Go on, I'm watching you do it.
Interact.
I want to see the devil dance.
I have got an interaction. I'll tell you what, I'm really annoyed because I bought an interaction and then it doesn't seem to work.
Profile, whisper, interact.
But there's no one found.
Interactions are special animations you can perform on other Africans.
Hang on, no, I can do it.
Okay.
I can capture you.
You are outrageous. Let me go this minute or I will thump you. And I've got a wand. I am armed.
Well, I've taken a photo of that, so.
What's this?
Right, okay, I'm going to go to my shop.
So if we ever want to like a fight one, then there's like, oh, yeah. Right, I'm sick of being all horrid. I'm going to change my goal.
Accessories. Well, I'm going to get my wing. I'm going to go and get my wand because you've upset me.
Chest to chest.
That's me.
I guess that's.
Who's found a, someone found a chest?
No, I've just sat down and read a book.
Well, I've got my wand in case I get attacked again.
I have found a chest, but I don't think it has anything in it. I don't know. It's really hard to tell.
Weren't we looking for a chest to then get a copy of the book?
Yeah.
When you get the chest,
It's no good pretending you're a fairy to me.
when you get to the chest, touch it and
Yeah, I have.
Take a photo.
take a photo.
How do I do that?
Steph, is it one that opens or not? You're the one who hid it.
It doesn't open or anything. You just have to like if you go round it. Oh, sorry, Helen.
I'm gonna get you with
Why
my broom.
don't you join him and see if he's got the right chest?
Okay. I think that was Josh. Josh, have you turned into some kind of like man from Del Monte with a white suit?
She's not a girl anymore. That was really funny.
Right, I don't know where I am now. I'm just kind of floating.
Yeah, Josh is behind me. Well,
it's
I don't
really
want to be
confusing when you can fly, I've got to say.
So I think Doug's found the chest, which would mean we can.
Yeah,
We've got a winner. We've got a winner.
He has. It's a treasure chest.
We'll get a paper
Yeah.
copy of the book over to
Well done, Doug.
We need.
I think taking a photo is proving the hardest challenge so far. So.
Oh, bless you, Josh. Doug, we will need your address and everything.
Sure.
Yes,
I'm just trying to think. What's the best way of sending us?
email.
You can do that. I'll do that. I can do
You'll
that.
sort it. Perfect.
Yeah, just fire me an email and I'll fire it back. That.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just kind of floating in midair and I can't get out.
Right.
I'm gonna have to get back in.
So where are we going now?
Do you want to go to Doug? Do you want one more before you depart? Because I can feel your. I can feel you're like, really? Do I have to do anything else?
No, it's cool. I'm just getting a bit tired. I think I'd be happy to join in the next one at an earlier time. That would be great.
No worries. No, we'll let you go. Don't worry. I'm just
Look at you on that horse.
Did you see it?
I am looking at you on that horse.
It's super cool. Oh my god.
I didn't know there was a horse. Hang on, I built this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Simone's
didn't know you
mounted
put
the
a horse
horse.
in. Yeah.
Yep.
Can you
I'm
kick the
okay.
person off the horse?
Ever so ladylike, which is not like me at all, but still.
Yeah, riding side saddle and everything.
It says occupied. I can't kick you off. I don't know.
That's naughty. I'm going to
cool.
go do a bit of skating.
Well, nice to see you all. And
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah,
we'll
lovely
catch
to
up
see
shortly.
you.
again in the future. Cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Have a good one. See you later. Bye bye. Right.
Right. So
Lockdown
how do you do a group photo then?
I just did it with my phone. Before I go, Steph, how's your little one? Did her temperature go down?
Yeah, she's fine now.
Did you give her chocolate?
Yeah.
Was all ill?
Blatantly. Yeah. Blatantly. God, what time is it? Is it late? It's 10 to
10
11.
to 11. Yeah.
I can play for 10 more minutes.
Yeah, I reckon 11 o'clock. We'll call it a day. Do you not, Simone? Do you not want to find the? Come on, this is the best one now. 10 more minutes.
Okay, go on then. What is it?
It's the locked down lady, and it's a haunted house. It's really cool.
There's a broomstick. I'm coming back as a witch. There's a broomstick you can ride on. Hold on, I've got to get changed again.
Where?
On the next one.
You have to join, if you join me. Do you think we scared Doug off?
Yep.
No, I think he was all right. I think he was a bit sort of like, what the hell?
Stop the recording, because otherwise I have to edit it.
We're still recording all of it. Hold on.
The first time they're a bit intrigued, and the next time, if there's